articles about it, and the city council members are arguing back and forth on it. But the public's trust has really been lost a lot right now in our local government. The thing about it, backing up a little bit, the thing about it is a lot of people view a lot of our issues as real federal issues on, write your congressman down in Washington, D.C. or write your senator. But it's so difficult to change federal politics. It's just this big freight train that just goes straight. And even if you get one person in there that has some kind of idea that they want to make change for the positive, it's so difficult to actually get things done because of there's really a lot of corruption and a lot of special interests that get involved in all this. So you move it down to the state level. You've got large areas electing one guy. He goes and there's 150 people in the state house right now. So they're all trying to work together, and it's really hard to reach an agreement with 150 people and get them all to sign on board with an idea. So then you move down to the local level. We've got 6 city council members and 1 mayor. Now, so what can the city council do about the law? The city council can't make laws. They can make codes and ordinances and things like that, but they can't change the law. But what they can do is they can choose how to enforce the law. And so this is the platform that I'm running on, is I want the police to just stop arresting people for possession of marijuana. Just say stop arresting them. There's nothing wrong with doing that. It's the choice of the city how to spend their dollars, and so this is what I'm pushing in my platform, is that we want to stop arresting people for this. And the second thing that I'm looking at is single member districts. And what this is in Austin right now, if you want to vote for your council member, each seat, each of the 6 seats and the mayor is voted citywide to get elected. So I've got to run this campaign and I've got to market myself to every single person who lives inside the city limits of Austin. Now this isn't real representation, because what you're going to have is the highest concentration of voters are, say, downtown in one zip code. Well, they're getting to elect people 6 times. Their voice counts 6 times. And then if you move to, say, a different area of town, I don't know what area specifically, but where, say, they only turn out 10 voters for every 100 voters that this zip code over here turns out, nobody's going to pay attention to them. Why would their voice matter? It doesn't, because all 6 people are sitting there saying, I get elected by these people right here. And so what moving the city towards single member districts would do is it would break the city up into quadrants, and each section of the city would have their own council member that they would elect and that they could go forward and talk to, and would have them look out for their best interest. They need an advocate. And so this is a big issue going on. A lot of groups around town, the mayor's been talking about it, a lot of groups around town really want to see this happen this cycle. So I'm talking about it, and we're going to see if we can get that done. The third issue is having to do with codes and the city ordinances that we've got in place. And there was an issue with the neighborhood. It's the Fairview neighborhood. And what happened is they got some anonymous phone calls down at the city, and they said, so-and-so lives at such and such address, and he's got a carport, and I don't think he got a permit for that. Well, the city... So the last one is Austin Energy. But what happened is the city did exactly what governments do. They get a phone call and they say, we'll take care of this issue. 76 homeowners in one neighborhood, they went out and they cited 76 homeowners for code violations, sometimes threatening them up to $2,000 a day for fines if they didn't change the carport.
$2,000 a day?
Up to $2,000 a day. It was ridiculous for people living in their homes. Now, here's the best part about it. The worst part about it, it's not the best at all, but what in a lot of these situations happened was home renovations were done 20, 30 years ago by previous homeowners. These people moved into this house, they bought a house in this neighborhood, they said, I want to live here. They move in, they buy the house, the garage had been converted by the previous owner into an extra bedroom. Well, then the city gets this anonymous phone call, they come out, and it's your house now. Where's your permit? Where is it? And so they go after 76 homeowners doing this stuff over carports and garage conversions and decks and railings and all these different things. And the thing is, the city shouldn't be terrorizing people, and that's exactly what it's doing, is it's terrorizing the homeowners of the city. And in what I want to do in my bid for office here is I want to move the city towards focusing on new building projects with the codes and the ordinances, for focusing on the new building projects, all the homeowners that have lived in their homes, they're not gonna be subject to this, and you can't use it as some kind of retribution for something. If you upset somebody somewhere, they can't call and complain on you for a code violation or something like that, which is basically what we have right now. And homeowners shouldn't be the ones that suffer. They're the ones that are paying all the taxes, and they're the ones going to work every day. Well, everybody's going to work and everybody's paying taxes, but they're footing the big bill for our school districts right now with their property taxes. And to sit there and start throwing fines at them is just wrong. It's morally wrong. It's ethically wrong.
Part of the problem.
The other issues I'm running on, I actually am really running on on a platform on Austin Energy. We don't have a choice in who we buy our electricity from. I'm a homeowner. Every single month I get my bill from Austin Energy and I look at it and I'm looking at fees. They have customer fees. They're $5 customer fees, and they have it for my wastewater, they have it for my fresh water, they have it for my trash, they have it for my electricity. And I called them up and said, what are these fees for? And they said, well, that's the fee that we charge to be our customer. Man, I did not like that. I did not like that at all. And I said, how can I stop paying these fees? And so then you start asking around, talking to them. Nobody really gives you a good answer. And then I find out that, well, the city council is talking about actually raising the fees instead of raising taxes, because that's so popular. Since they own the power, all the power plants and the power generation here, well, they can raise your fees, or they can raise your rates on your electricity, and they don't have to hit you with more taxes. They can offset it like that, and so they're subsidizing a tax with another tax, really, and it's not right. It's not fair. And the whole idea of living in a free country is that you can be able to do business with whoever you want to do business with. You can send your money to people that you support and show your support with your dollars. And so what I want to do is open the market up for competition. If you want to buy electricity from Perdonalis or from a different electric provider anywhere, you should be free to make that contract with them and make that agreement with them.
Absolutely. Why did you pick place 3?
Well, I wish I had a good answer for you on this. I'll tell you what I've got. Kris Bailey is in place 1, and my name is Kris Bailey, and I just don't want to do that. Yeah, I'm sitting here thinking I'm going to do all this work, and everybody's going to the poll, and which Kris was I supposed to vote for, and I don't want to take it on. So then the other place is Laura Morrison's place, and Laura Morrison and some of the groups I've been talking with, when they brought the Fusion Center into Austin, she was in the beginning. The Fusion Center, we still got it; it's still here, but she was advocating for a lot of the privacy issues, trying to protect people's privacy. And the Fusion Center really has that's a big beast right there on what they can and can't do and what it could possibly turn into. So that's something people need to be really aware of. But what do you know what the Fusion Center is?
I don't.
Yeah. No.
Go ahead and explain it. So some of us don't know.
Okay, so the police departments, and this is not specific to Texas. This is happening everywhere. And I'm not the expert on Fusion Centers. John Bush is, and he would love to talk about this. But what they started doing is they started figuring out a way to gather information on people. And in some of the Fusion Centers, they're gathering information that has nothing to do with law enforcement at all. What's your religious affiliation? What's your political views? What you name it. I mean, they could track any kind of information that they wanted, create a little file, and then share it with other police departments everywhere. And so when people are starting to, if you get pulled over, say in Missouri one day, they link into the Fusion Center and it talks to the Fusion Center in Austin and it tells them all the things about you in your private life, or your political affiliations, or your religious affiliation, or groups that you belong to, or meetings you attend, or anything like that. And so we have one of these now. And to answer your question, Laura Morrison was coming out as an advocate for privacy issues. She was trying to protect a lot of the information that she was trying to limit the amount of information that they could obtain and hold. I don't think that I'm not putting her up there to be a saint, saying she saved Austin from the Fusion Center or anything like that. But when it boiled down to which of the two am I going to run against, Brandy Shade is who I'm running against, because she wasn't sitting there speaking up for privacy issues, and I'm not going to go after somebody that's going to do that. If I've got to pick, I'd rather leave the person that cares about our privacy issues alone. So that's how that boiled down. And when it gets down to it, going back to the war on drugs, man, I really pound this issue into the ground. None of them are talking about that. None of them are doing anything. And so the way I interpret it is they all support the status quo. They're good. They're good arresting 4,500 people in Austin a year, taking them down, booking them, spending 7,500 hours of police time just running these people through the jail. Those police could actually be looking for criminals that have committed crimes that have a victim. That's what we need to be focusing on. And we're focusing, and this is across the board, we're focusing on too many things where there's no victim. And so everything needs to be shifted towards crime has a victim. Crime has a victim, and if there's no victim, it's very difficult for me to define a crime. It's very difficult for me to say that a crime's been committed. So that's how I feel about that. Yeah.
Kris, a number of Austin residents have petitioned City Council on the issue of the artificial water fluoridation of Austin's city water. They were so effective that they got the Environmental Board, which is an advisory council to City Council, to recommend that City Council investigate it, and City Council blew them off. So what do you think? What do you think about the fluoride issue, and what would you do as a City Council member about this?
I think the fluoride issue is actually a very important issue that does not have nearly as much attention as it deserves. I think the city is spending between $800,000 and $1 million a year to buy fluoride to put in our water. The various government agencies, this has been in the newspaper lately, that they recommended less than half of the amount of fluoride that we're currently putting in our water. They've recommended that they cut it by half. I don't see why it needs to be there, period. I'm not in favor of putting fluoride in our water, and if you do the research on it, it does not appear to be a substance that's good for you. Even if it was a substance that's good for you, they're involuntarily medicating each and every person that lives in the city of Austin. So I'm not in favor of continuing to involuntarily medicate the people of Austin. I would stop. I would attempt with everything in me to stop putting fluoride in the water.